I've worked side by side with Governor Walz. I've seen how hard he's worked for Minnesota to be the best place for kids to grow up.
That was Minnesota Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan speaking about her political partner, Tim Walz, the man of the evening, the man she won 2 elections with in 2018 and then again in 22. And Walz will take the stage himself just a few hours from now, but his lieutenant governor is here with me, Peggy Flanagan. She's also a co-chair of the Democratic National Convention, and if the Harris-Walz ticket is successful, she will become the governor of Minnesota. So, Lieutenant Governor, thank you so much for being with me. In that speech that we just showed a clip from on Monday, here's what you said about the governor. You said he carries around a bottomless bag of snacks, including Nutter Butters and cheese curds. What else should voters know about the governor of your state?
Well, I think that is a snapshot of who he is. He is so thoughtful and caring.
Oh, so these snacks are not for himself, they're
no,
for
they're
others?
for sharing, absolutely. And he, he is a teacher and a coach and a veteran, and that big dad energy that folks are talking about, all of that's for real, and that's who he is. And he is a leader, and I think he's earned this.
What do you think we're going to hear from him tonight?
I think you're going to hear a little bit about how he grew up in rural Nebraska, grew up on a farm, and all of, frankly, the lessons that taught him that helped him to really be committed to public service. I think you're going to hear a little bit about the Harris-Walz agenda for America, and then I think you're going to hear him be an incredible partner and hype man for the next president of the United States, Kamala Harris.
I have to ask you, it isn't always easy for men in power to talk about women in power in a very generous way. It doesn't always come naturally. It seems to come naturally to him. He has been Kamala Harris's biggest hype man, talking about her accomplishments, talking about her joy in a way that seems very authentic. Has that been your experience as a woman in power with him in Minnesota?
That has absolutely been my experience. We decided to run together a year before the election because we wanted people to know what they were going to get, and we had different lived experiences. He came from the 9th largest agricultural district in the country, a rural community, was in the military, and I was a nonprofit executive, Native woman, suburban mom. And he created a space for my voice and for my expertise. And I see him modeling that, of course, with the vice president.
Is there something that you know about him as a leader, having served with him in Minnesota, that you think would be important for voters to know about?
I think we have been through some incredibly difficult moments in Minnesota, but also some incredibly joy-filled moments. He always is compassionate. He goes directly to the people who are most impacted, and he's a teacher at heart. And part of the, being a good teacher is being a good listener and a good learner. And he's really humble. And I think we could use that kind of perspective right now in our politics.
What do you think of the criticisms of his military record, and specifically when he chose to leave the military?
So here's what I would say. He served for 24 years in the Army National Guard. He has an incredible track record of service. He also continued to serve folks in the military and veterans once he was in Congress, and then as the governor of Minnesota. I have seen nothing but a deep commitment to service, and I think those critiques are unfair, frankly.
If Governor Walz is successful in the next 2.5 months, and he and Kamala Harris win the presidency, you would become the first Native American woman to be governor of a state in the U.S. Have you thought much about what that would mean?
Well, I'm currently the highest ranking Native woman in an elected office, and I know that representation matters. But I think about, I had Geraldine Ferraro growing up, but my daughter has Deb Haaland, the Secretary of the Interior, Congresswoman Sharice Davids, and her mom is Lieutenant Governor. For her, this is just her reality. So I know that if I am not the first Native American woman governor, she is on her way and will be arriving soon.
You know, it looked during the roll call last night like the Minnesota delegation was the place to be. Obviously, it's been pretty exciting and somewhat unexpected. He was kind of a dark horse in this contest to be Kamala Harris's vice presidential nominee. What has the atmosphere been within that Minnesota delegation over the past few days? And are you looking forward to John Legend tonight paying tribute not just to Tim Walz, but to Prince,
to our beloved
Minnesotan
Prince? Absolutely. So it has been a party, but it also has been, we've reflected a lot. I think we grow good vice presidents in Minnesota. Hubert Humphrey, Walter Mondale, you know, icons, leaders. And I think Tim Walz is well prepared to be the vice president because of the Minnesota values that he holds of just caring for people. And I adore Prince. I was raised on Prince and at Paisley Park, so we are ready to welcome John Legend with this incredible tribute to our Prince.
I think that this whole arena is going to be splashed out in purple tonight for that. Right. Peggy Flanagan, you'll be with the Minnesota delegation to watch all of that, to watch Tim Walz. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you.